Hi everyone, my name is Elaine, and today I'm going to be both summarizing and reviewing the 25th novel in Terry Pratchett's Discworld series, The Truth. Starting with the summary. William de Worde works as both a scribe and writer of a gossip-packed newsletter for foreign nobility and rulers. Upon being introduced to Gunilla Goodmountain and Company's wordsmithy, or printing press, he realizes that he can produce content far more swiftly than ever before. Hunon Ridcully, High Priest of Blind Io, tries to get Vetinari to put an end to movable type because words are too important to be left to machinery. Words that can be taken apart and used to make other words are dangerous. That's on page 37. Vetinari won't in order to maintain positive relations with Dwarvish society, which provide Ankh-Morpork with necessities like lamp oil and coal. Mr. Pin and Mr. Tulip have captured a man named Charlie who looks exactly like the patrician, and are trying to convince him to conduct some business with them. Gunilla's printing press company prints off several copies of William's newsletter, which has been renamed Ankh-Morpork Times. They enlist the help of local beggars to sell it to the city's populace. Mr. Slant, a zombie lawyer, has contracted Mr. Tulip and Mr. Pin, who make up the new firm, into completing a task in a sealed envelope for his clients. A group of concerned citizens. William recruits Saccharissa Crispblock, the granddaughter of the engraver that he once worked for, to help with the paper. The new firm purchased a disorganizer MK2 from a wizard. As the paper continues to grow, William hires Rocky, a troll, to serve as its complaints, beheadings, and horse-whippings editor. Saccharissa creates a new header for the Ankh-Morpork Times. With the threat of competition looming on the horizon, William hires a vampire named Otto Shriek to serve as the paper's photographer. At the palace, Vimes informs William that Vetinari had stabbed his personal secretary, Rufus Drumknot. The patrician was later found unconscious while trying to escape with $70,000 in his saddlebags. William investigates the oblong office where the attempted murder took place. There's overturned furniture, a metal arrow sticking out of the floor, and it reeks of peppermint. Upon returning to the office, William announces that he wants to run another paper, immediately. Mr. Slant arrives, representing the Guild of Engravers and Printers. His attempt to put the paper out of business does not work since the Guild's new charter has not been signed by the patrician. Slant and company depart, but their arrival has raised an important question. Who is in charge of the city now that the patrician has been thrown into prison? William vows to get to the bottom of everything. The paper sells rapidly. Vimes isn't happy about it since he feels as though it'll cause a breach of the peace. Vimes has his gargoyles watch William to see what happens to him. That's on page 173. William wonders if Vimes had found Wuffles, the patrician's dog, who had barked before the attempted murder. The crossbow bolt found at the crime scene must have been fired at it as it fled. If Wuffles is found, the Watch's werewolf could speak to him and see what happened. The peppermint oil must have been used to confuse the werewolf. Vimes and William plan to put a picture of Wuffles in the paper to make him easier to find. Vimes gives William permission to see Drumknot. While visiting Drumknot's cell, William discovers that the patrician has not woken up yet and Drumknot doesn't remember anything. William thinks the whole situation smells a bit funny. William discovers that he has competition, an inexpensive tabloid known as the Ankh-Morpork Inquirer. He also learns that the engravers try to buy the dwarf's printing press, have attempted to hire his staff, and have begun purchasing all of the paper in the city, making it extremely expensive for him to buy. Threatened with the possibility that they may go out of business, the paper rallies. They intend to get their paper out before the competition. William intends to hire 3 new writers, and Otto intends to introduce colored photos. Mr. Slant sends the new firm after Wuffles so their plan won't unravel. Goodmountain and William acquire some paper. Otto shows Saccharissa a picture he took with dark light of the patrician's study. It shows 2 Vetinari staring at one another. William realizes that the patrician, who walks with a cane, could not have loaded up the horse with $70,000 coins because they weigh almost 1/3 of a ton. He realizes someone's plan had gone wrong and wonders who had framed Vetinari. He intends to run a paper about it. William learns from a mystery informant, Deep Bone, that it wasn't Vetinari who stabbed the other man. It was another man. He's got a dog bite on his ankle. That's on 257. The new firm arrives at the paper in disguise. They're looking for Wuffles in the pile of animals hopeful Morporkians have brought for the promised reward. Sensing that something is off, Goodmountain communicates with William via type and quickly fetches Otto, who uses darklight to scare the firm away. It also frightens the animals. Vimes isn't happy. He informs William that the patrician had spent the night out and smelled of drink on the day of the attempted murder, which is peculiar for him. Otto had gotten a picture of Mr. Pin. It shows that the shadows behind him were alive. That's on 285. William and his team at the paper discover that Dibbler has been writing for the Inquirer and hire him to sell some advertising for them. Deepbone leads William to Wuffles for $50. Fellow Ron had him. William interviews Wuffles and discovers there had been 2 Lord Vetinaris at the crime scene. But he knew one was wrong because he smelled wrong, and there were 2 other men, and then, 20 seconds later, Wuffles bit William hard on the ankle. That's on 326. Wuffles had bitten everyone at the scene of the crime. Mr. Pin is haunted by voices and faces in the darkness. Rocky and Saccharissa find Charlie chained in the cellar of the de Worde's townhouse. They are captured by the new firm. The new firm arrives at the paper with Saccharissa. Chaos ensues and the press is ignited. The new firm is trapped in the printing press's cellar. Mr. Pin shoots Mr. Tulip so he can stand on him to get away from the burning lead. The press burns down. The paper staff realizes it's done for. They open the cellar and discover Mr. Pin is still alive. William is attacked by Mr. Pin. William stabs Mr. Pin with a metal spike, a piece of debris. After Saccharissa shares her story of the DeWords' home with William, inspecting Mr. Pin's body, and replaying the recordings from his disorganizer, the paper begins to piece together the truth, everything that had happened. That William's father had been involved in the plot against Vetinari. William uses the jewels found on Mr. Pin's person to fund the paper's reopening. He intends to print another edition ASAP. William intends to print the truth. A plot to illegally seize control of Ankh-Morpork was exposed last night after days of patient detective work by the Watch. The Times now understands that 2 assassins, both now dead, were hired from outside the city to blacken the character of Lord Vetinari and depose him as patrician. They used an innocent man with a remarkable resemblance to Lord Vetinari in order to trick their way into the palace. The Times understands that Lord Vetinari was overwhelmed in the moment of shock on seeing himself entering his office. Their plan was foiled by Lord Vetinari's dog Waffles, 16, who attacked both men. The noise of this attracted the attention of Lord Vetinari's clerk, Rufus Drumknot, who was then knocked unconscious. The attackers tried to put the interruption to good use in their dastardly plan and stabbed Drumknot with one of Lord Vetinari's own daggers in an attempt to make it look as if he was insane or murderous. Acting with vicious cunning, they forced the bogus Lord Vetinari to make a false confession to some servants who were attracted by the noise. Then all 3, carrying the unconscious Lord Vetinari and hired by the dog Waffles, 16, took the stairs to the stables. There they had set up a scene to suggest that Lord Vetinari had been trying to rob the city. However, the dog Waffles escaped, and caused a citywide search by the Watch and criminals alike. He was found by a group of public-spirited citizens. They kept him hidden. That's on pages 381 to 384. William confronts his father about his involvement in the plot against Vetinari. Lord DeWord defends his actions, claiming that they were in Ankh-Morpork's best interests since the patrician is ruining the city. Otto rescues William from DeWord's thugs and frightens DeWord with his nature. Lord DeWord retreats. He appears to be leaving the city. Mr. Slant informs William that Mr. Scrope has been elected patrician through a vote of the guilds. At the palace, William discovers that there won't be a trial and Lord Vetinari will return to his duties tomorrow. The case has been closed. Vetinari is innocent. Although no names have been named, William chose to conceal a portion of the truth. The Times has got itself back up and running in a new office while the old one is rebuilt. They finally hire 3 new writers and plan on building offices in Pseudopolis and Stolat. They're also putting a semaphore post up. Drumknot and Vetinari visit the Times. The patrician informs them that Charlie has joined the Guild of Actors. Saccharissa and William go out together and discover their next story. The Times carries on. And that's the end of the novel. Now, on to my book review. I didn't feel as though this installment of the Discworld series was as strong as it could have been. I feel as though this is the case because the whole swapping a person with their lookalike so we can get what we want plot is hopelessly overdone in various consumable mediums such as film and literature. I would have appreciated something more original to add a bit of mystery and intrigue to the novel. I also didn't see the point in the shadow surrounding Mr. Pin having life. Furthermore, the plot point wasn't wrapped up particularly well. I think it would have been best if it was simply omitted from the novel. While the novel had its moments, it wasn't particularly funny either, and its pace was often slow. This definitely wasn't a bad novel, but it wasn't my favorite and remains more middle of the road in terms of Discworld novels. Rating, 3 out of 5 stars. And there you have it, my summary and review of Terry Pratchett's The Truth. What did you think of my summary, and what did you think of the book? Let me know down below in the comments. I always like to know what you guys think. And if you like what you saw here today, please smash that like button until it's blue. Subscribe, ring that bell so you'll know what's up, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye, guys!